You know you want to start a membership. You know that you want monthly recurring revenue. You know you want to be paid weekly for that revenue, but you don't know what to offer. You don't know what your membership is supposed to be about. I'm hearing you in the comments, and I have put together a workshop that we're going to do right now. That if you work with me in this entire video, by the end of this video, you will know exactly what your membership should be. This is the deepest of deep dives. So you're going to want to take out a piece of paper and a pen, or get your laptop or your phone, and you want to go along with me step by step, and you're answering these questions. This is an exercise I do inside of my paid membership, Arlan's All Access, and I'm doing it for free right now, the entire process right now. So check this out. I'm going to go page by page with you. If you have done this before inside of Arlan's All Access, this will be a version of it that will help you solidify even more what you want your membership to be. So the way we're going to use this, and you see here that it says membership manifesto, stick around for that because we're going to have something at the end that you can print out and put in front of you every single day so that you know your North Star. Okay, this is an amazing resource, and you'll have this forever if you work with me. Are you ready? If you're ready, say in the comments right now, I am ready and I'm with you. Let's go. Okay, so we're going to go step by step. There are three sections to start. These are three main sections, and we talk about this in Arlan's All Access, my membership that teaches you how to make memberships. And it's a several day process that has all kinds of things to it. And this is the entire part of the first process. It's incredible. The first thing you want to do is you want to figure out your target audience. Identify the specific group of people who will benefit most from what you offer. Okay. So just think about this for a little bit and start jotting some things down. Who is your ideal customer? One hack to figuring this out, because sometimes it is tough to figure out, is to think about who you've worked with in the past, who's been your favorite to work with, favorite type of client, customer. Now, this can be someone that has spent thousands with you, or it can be someone who bought a necklace from you or something that cost $5. It's thinking about what about them did I like? What was it that I understood that I would want to work with them again? And are there more than one that are similar? So I start to see a trend and a pattern. The first way you want to think about this is you're going to think through things like their age, their lifestyle, their skill level, their motivation. These are demographic and psychographics, right? Demographics and psychographics. So the demographics, what is their age, profession, life stage? So for example, we're going to use an example the whole time of someone who is trying to start a membership or who wants to start a membership for painting. Okay, so whatever we do when it says painting, just think about where kind of your general idea might be. So for instance, my ideal customer is a 30 to 50-year-old adult who is interested in exploring painting as a hobby, but hasn't picked up a brush in years or is a beginner. Think about their skill level. Are they complete beginners, intermediate hobbyists, or aspiring professionals? Think about that in what you're doing in your lane. And what you want to do too is you want to pause this video, write down some answers, press play, and keep going. Okay, this is a full-on workshop. You also, what I like to do is have my age range. If I think through age range, I like to have it 20 years tops. So I'll say something like mine is 35 to 55-year-old women, right? Or women of color, et cetera, right? So you don't have to have every single one of these figured out in order to figure out the overall. But the more you can dial in, the better and the easier it's going to be for you later. Another example of that, of their skill level, is they are beginners who have always wanted to try painting, but they feel intimidated by the idea of starting. What's their lifestyle like? What is their current situation and how does painting fit into that? For instance, they have a busy schedule, but they're looking for a creative outlet to unwind after work or on the weekends. You want to be specific so that you can know how to reach those people. And then what common challenges or pain points do they face? You'll hear that term pain points a lot with me because that's how I work when I work with startup founders. Now, I've invested in more than 200 startup founders over the past decade after being homeless 10 years ago. And I have raised more than $30 million for this venture fund that has been pouring into startup companies, right? And so I see thousands and thousands of entrepreneurs of all shades and stripes, and they all face pain points. They all have something in common, and they're all trying to address someone else's pain point or their own, right? So think about the obstacles and the frustrations that your target audience experiences when they try to learn how to paint, for instance. These are the pain points that your teaching aims to solve. So you ask yourself, what's holding them back? And again, replace painting with whatever you're thinking of right now. What's holding them back from starting or progressing? What makes the thing feel difficult or overwhelming for them? For example, they don't know where to start and they feel overwhelmed by the materials, the equipment, the techniques, right? Another example is they're afraid of making mistakes and they feel they're not naturally artistic. Another is they want to create art, but they feel intimidated by the amount of time or money it might take to get good at it. These are the problems that you can address in your lessons when you build out your membership. There's always going to be this classroom element to it. This makes your content more relatable. And again, it makes it more valuable what you're offering. And then think about how they currently try to solve these problems. Now, your competition per se could be a person, a company, or it could just be a hacked way, like a duct tape way that somebody does this now. So think about your ideal audience, what they're doing to try to overcome those challenges. Are they taking action or are they stuck? Are they using free resources like YouTube right now, Pinterest? And again, this is specific to painting, but think about it for your lane. Are they trying to learn on their own but not seeing progress? Have they attended local classes but found them to be expensive or intimidating, and in some cases, not effective enough for them? Right? And what characteristics define them? What are their ages? Again, think about a range. What are their interests, passions, hobbies outside from the main thing that you're working on? And what are their values? What drives them? Are they looking for a way to express themselves, relax, grow personally? Are they looking for, let's say you're in fintech or finance, are they looking for a way to save money, to get better with their finances, to pay off debt? Think about the different elements of this and just jot all these notes down as we go along. Remember to pause when you want to so that you can think through this truly. So then what makes them a good fit for your product or service? Not everybody is going to be the perfect fit. So what makes your ideal customer the perfect fit? Why would they benefit from what you're offering? And again, we're going to learn more about what you're going to offer a little bit later, but this is part of that. So they may be good because they are looking for the type of enjoyable, stress-free, creative outlet that you are going to offer. They could be good because they're looking for the type of guidance, structured, easy to follow, step by step that you're going to offer. And they could be good because they value community. Maybe everything else they've done has been solo, siloed, or it could have been in groups like a classroom, but nobody was really talking to each other or working together outside of that. And you are going to offer this membership that's going to change that for them. So after completing this exercise, here's what your target audience might look like. You're going to say what your ideal customer is. And again, if for an example, a 40-year-old woman working full time who wants to explore painting as a relaxing hobby to unwind. Now, when you have this target person, this avatar, these different keywords we'll start to use, it doesn't mean that every single customer of yours has to be this exact person. It just means that the majority of them will be because they're your ideal client. And if you can attract them, then you can know how to work with them, right? But then you're attracting other people who are following that crowd, who are saying, "Oh, that looks interesting. Let me be part of it." That. Think about my audience. My audience, I would say, is 35 to 55-year-old women of color for the most part, who are successful in many aspects of their life, but they are looking for more. They're very aspirational. They're very intelligent, and they want to give back and they want to have impact in the world, right? That's my audience. But then I also have white men who are in their 20s or in their 70s. I have women who are in their 70s and 80s that are a part of our membership. I have younger people. I have people who are not entrepreneurs at all and never thought about being an entrepreneur, but they come into the world. It doesn't mean that you can't allow other people into your world. It just means that having this understanding of who you're looking for helps you know who you're talking to. And I promise you, that is the biggest breakthrough that you might have in this whole process. So you're going to know the ideal customer, their pain points, their current solution, and the characteristics of who they are. This is more like psychographics, right? And then if they're a good fit. Now, going into section 2, you're going to think about the solution and the benefits that you offer. So now you've identified kind of the person who you're thinking about or the people you're thinking about. Now we're going to talk about what do you offer them. So you're going to define how your product or your service solves your audience's problem and the specific benefits it provides. The goal here is to clearly explain what problems your painting lessons or XYZ solve for your target audience. Okay. What is their primary problem? For instance, is it a lack of confidence? Is it overwhelmed with materials or instructions or no structured learning? These are just examples. Your answer may be different. You can share some of your answers in the comments the whole way. You can comment as much as you want to. I'm going to look at every single comment and I approve them or don't approve them, right? So to go live. So talk to me, give some feedback here if you're learning something. Then you're going to think about how your lessons in the classroom, in the way that you structure your membership, are going to address these problems. And don't get too worried about how do I make a classroom? How do I make a course? We'll get to that another time. It's more about what is going to be inside of this container. For instance, my painting lessons solve the problem of overwhelm by guiding students step by step through the basics of choosing materials and starting on a simple project. I help build confidence by teaching in a non-judgmental environment where students can make mistakes and improve. It reminds me so much of Arlan's All Access because that's exactly what's going on. How is your solution different or better than the current alternatives? So you have to understand and be able to explain how are you different and better, right? It could be that they're using YouTube tutorials, which are fantastic. We both know that, but maybe you're giving them some better step like I do. So what makes your teaching approach unique? Are you offering something that they can't get somewhere else from free resources? Is your style more approachable or less intimidating than traditional ways? And if you think about too, there's another way of thinking about this is in the curation. When you go to an art museum, and the whole point of the museum is that there's millions of pieces of art in the world, probably billions because there are billions of people. There's so much art in the world. But you went to this museum, and the reason that it makes sense is because someone or a few people curated that art. They curated the experience for you. It may change throughout the year into different themes. It may be the same every year, but in some way they curated your experience. What art is on the walls? What art is sitting there in the middle of the hall? So what you could do is your unique proposition of value could be that there's so much information about the specific topic, and you're going to help by doing hours and hours of research for the person, for the group. And you're going to bring those pieces together in one container, and you're going to put it in order so that it's not so overwhelming and so people don't have to look everywhere for it, right? Because anybody can Google, anybody can go on YouTube. But if you can help curate that experience, that also is a valuable part of things. So it's not just your IP, your intellectual property. It's a mixture of that and your ability to help people find solutions. So another example is you could give them personal guidance. So, unlike free tutorials, my lessons offer personalized feedback and a clear path for progress so beginners know exactly what to do next. I can't overstate how important it is to help people in a step by step way with anything you're doing, no matter what it is. And so much of what we do, we think that the earliest steps are kind of like a given, like, oh yeah, everybody knows how to do that because I know how to do that. But most people don't know how to do that first step that of that thing that you know how to do. So some people, for instance, don't know how to search on YouTube, but you do because you got here, right? But you wouldn't believe how many people don't know that YouTube has valuable information. It's not just cat videos. You wouldn't believe how many people don't know how to search for certain keywords or how to navigate. So you could literally be someone who teaches someone else how to use YouTube. And that's just an example of what I mean. But it needs to be something that is close to your heart and something that you want to work on for years. So there's other examples here that you can read here. And what measurable benefits do people get from your product or service? What new skills do they get, perhaps? What progress will they make? And how will that knowledge and abilities help them improve? Right? So, for instance, after completing my lessons, students will be able to paint a basic landscape or still life using foundational techniques like shading and blending. I can't stress enough how important these first steps are to be able to do something like that. And I can't stress enough how important it is to have a transformation. We talk a lot about transformations inside of Arlan's All Access, and I'll tell you so much more inside of it. But it is the core of what you're doing. Okay. And students will finish the course with 3 to 5 completed paintings that they can proudly display at home. Like these are cool things that people can have that transformation. How does your offer improve their lives or their businesses in tangible ways? Ask yourself things like, how will this thing that I'm doing help them relieve stress or find joy? Just as an example. How can they use their newfound skills to enhance themselves, their homes, their life, or make money? And how might it, learning these things, whatever it might be, affect their self esteem or sense of accomplishment? What emotional or psychological benefits will they experience? How will students feel after completing a painting or making progress, et cetera, right? So you're asking yourself this, you're jotting down notes, you're writing down the questions. If there's a question you don't know the answer to at any time throughout this video, just write the question or put a little note to come back to this. And here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you a link to this entire process, but you have to, in order for you to get the link, you have to go to the end of the video. You have to watch the entire video to know exactly where to get it. But you'll have it afterwards, and you'll have the manifesto I talked about to print out and put on your wall, put on your desk, put in front of you so that you have that North Star. Now, at the end of this section, you're going to know the problem. You're going to know how your solution is different, how it benefits in a measurable way, how it's tangible, and how it's emotionally beneficial. These are all super important. Again, this process is what people pay me thousands of dollars as private clients to learn, and I'm teaching it to you right now for free, these questions. The last section of this part of it, there's still more to come, is why you? Why you over the competitor? So you've learned who your target audience is. You've learned what their pain points are, or you've thought through it, and you're going to ask yourself that. You're understanding how your product or service does solve those problems, but why you and not something else? Do you have a particular method or framework that simplifies the process? Are your lessons delivered in a way that is fits into a busy lifestyle? Shorter videos, audio. Is it super clear to understand? Right? Do you provide personal feedback? Is there a supportive community that others don't offer? The answer is yes when you do memberships the way we do memberships. Okay, so you could have a hands-on personal approach. You could have a simplified technique, and you could have flexible learning. Some people in Arlen's All Access are going through every single video, asking questions, doing all of that. Some people are taking 30 minutes a day and they're going to learn from it. Some people are like, I'm going to come in once or twice a week and I'm going to do a deep dive. Some people are like, I'm going to come in maybe once a week, touch base, learn one really great thing, and then bounce, and I'll be back next week. It is a flexible learning situation that you can implement in your own community. Now, here's the part that I think is so important and so fun to think about. And I think this is the core of everything. So if you've made it this far, write the word core, C-O-R-E, core in the comments to let me know that you're at this point, because this is what's going to set you apart from so many people. This is the secret sauce right here. Is how does your personal experience or story help build trust and connect you with your audience on a deeper level? I talk to so many of our Arlan's All Access members, either one-on-one or in small groups. And they have these incredible stories about these backstories, like just absolutely incredible. And they don't know they're sitting on a gold mine until we start really pulling that out, saying, actually, what in your life has made you get to this point in your life? What do you wish you knew 10 years ago? What do you wish people knew about you? These are the types of things you can start to ask yourself. Because everybody who comments on my videos and says, I don't know what to do, what to offer. I don't think I have anything to offer. I don't have a special skill. You have a unique lived experience that no one in the entire world has. I want you to hear me, if you've kind of spaced out a little bit or if you're, rapidly writing down, I want you to hear this. You have a unique lived experience that literally no one else in the world has because we're all different. Even if someone grew up with you or is your twin or has a very similar story, you went to the same school, they did not have the exact day-to-day life that you did. Therefore, your lived experience and your unique experience is yours and yours alone, and it's an asset. Write the word asset, A-S-S-E-T. I'm hoping that's how you spell it. It is. Asset. I should know that word very easily. Write the word asset in the comments if you understand what I'm talking about. What's your story with the thing you're trying to offer? Did you struggle in the beginning like your students are now? This could be the breakthrough for you, everyone. This could be the breakthrough. What do you wish you knew a few years ago? What would you offer yourself 5 years ago or 10 years ago? For me, I was like, I wish somebody would tell me the step by step of starting a venture fund in this landscape where I'm a Black gay woman from the South with no connections and no money. I wish there was a step-by-step guide. And you know what? I now offer that. I now have a membership for that. I have several memberships. And one of them is for that. Because I can go back and say, what would I have needed 10 years ago? This is the breakthrough moment. If this is the breakthrough moment for you, let me know in the comments. This is how we interact with each other. Let me know in the comments. Or when you join Arlan's All Access, DM me when you join and tell me this was the moment that you knew that there was something, that you had to do something. It was no longer a question. You had to make a difference and take action. What breakthroughs have you had that make you a great teacher for beginners or for even, doesn't even have to be for beginners. Yours could be, I am talking to people who are further along in their careers and people think they just have it all together and they don't. And that there's other struggle that you have to have once you get to this point in life because it's lonelier up here, right? There's no manual for this. I want to be the manual for it. How long have you been doing the thing and what experience or credentials can you share? If you have credentials, if you have that, that's really where you can shine right now. For instance, I started painting 5 years ago with zero experience. I struggled to find beginner-friendly resources that didn't make me feel overwhelmed. Now I teach people like you how to avoid these same pitfalls. Or I've sold over 50 paintings and held 3 solo art shows, but it wasn't always this way. I learned from scratch, and I know exactly what it feels like to be a total beginner. Dot, 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 dot. right? It does, your personal story not only shows you where it shows you've been where your students are, but it also gives them a reason to believe that you are the right person to help them reach their goals. I hope you're writing this down. I hope you're rocking with me. Let me know. So then there's a couple of things you can do to even make this a stronger offer. What guarantees or proof can you offer to build trust? Okay. So for instance, can you offer a satisfaction guarantee like a money back or a free trial? Free trials are something that work. Money back guarantees when certain things are done. Some people have like a no questions asked after 72 hours. If you don't like it, you can get your money back. And that really builds trust, right? And if you do a good job inside the membership, then that shouldn't be a big problem. You might have a few people who refund, but not most. Some people say you have to get to a certain point and do a certain level of things, and this is the list. It ranges. But can you do that? You don't have to, but it does add to the conversion of people who do buy in because they feel like, oh, okay, I don't feel foolish. I feel like there's some safety net here. I'm going to give it a chance. The second thing is, do you have testimonials or success stories or a portfolio that demonstrates the quality of work? Now, if you're very much so in that place where you feel like I don't have anything to show for it, this is just the beginning, then what you're going to do is you're going to have a free membership and you're for people to join and you're going to learn with them and you're going to build over time. You're going to work with people for free and build over time the skill so that you can get these things. You can get the testimonials, you can get the success stories. Did you hear that part? That's really important. If you feel like I don't know where to start, because so many people have written in my comments, I don't know where to start. I don't think I have a skill or a talent or I can help people. This is the hack. You start a free membership, which I teach you how to do in Arlan's All Access. You do a something that is very valuable, but you're learning with them and you're telling them we're learning this together. Your audience, your members. It's free to them, so they're cool with that. You have a little baby step ahead of them so you can help them slightly because you have so much interest in it because you're willing to do the work. You work with some of them for free or with the group for free. Start to help them have success stories. And then use those success stories and those testimonials that they give you to bring in now more paid people down the line. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Let me know if that makes sense to you. Shake your head and nod your head if it makes sense or leave a comment. Okay. Do you have certifications or experience that further validate? So many people who watch my videos are PhDs, doctors, lawyers. They have MBAs. They're all sorts of things. I don't know why the word anthropologist went into my head, but maybe I met someone recently who was. You all have some of these receipts. Not everybody, but some of you do. And I want you to brag and I want you to say, look, there's no imposter syndrome in this house. We don't have time for it. Do I or do I not want in 12 months to be making six figures from this? If I don't, cool, I can have all the imposter syndrome in the world. But if I do, I'm going to have to put one foot in front of the other. And I'm doing that here on the floor, one foot in front of the other. And I'm going to have to break through those limiting beliefs. It's just going to have to happen, right? One step at a time. So you're building your portfolio, you're building your credentials, you're building those testimonials by offering something for free if that's your lane. If you do have these things already, you can still make the decision, and I'll talk to you about that later, about free versus paid, and then there's ways to monetize both. So why would customers return to you or refer you to others after using your product? That's a huge signal. It's not just I used it because your marketing was great or because you were slick in your salesmanship. But I used it, it worked for me, and I need to tell as many people as possible about this because they need to see it too. So many people write to me on Arlan's All Access, and when you join, you get a message that says, how did you find me? And so many people say YouTube, but so many others say, my friend XYZ told me about Arlan's All Access, and I had to check it out because they love it so much. Happens all the time. Happened this morning. Happens all the time. So if you have something that people are loving, are they going out and telling the world about it? That's your signal. What long-term value do you offer that keeps students engaged? What makes your students feel personally connected to you And how does the overall experience keep them loyal to your brand? We talk all about this in Arlan's All Access, by the way. You don't have to know these answers right now. It's just things I want you to think about. How do your brand's values align with your audience's values? Think about that. And then you're going to put it all together by thinking about your unique approach, your personal experience, which is so important, the trust and the proof, loyalty and referrals coming back to you, and the values alignment. Right? Now, there is a manifesto that I am going to give you. If you go to the link in my description, if you're in Arlan's All Access watching this, it's in the classroom where this video is. If you look in the link in my description, I will give you the full manifesto. You take the manifesto, you type in your own answers in the prompts, and then you print that out or make it your desktop page if you want to do it digitally, and you tape it to the wall, tape it to the front of your journal, put it on your desk, laminate it. If you laminate it, let me know, because that's rock star. Frame it. And yes, it may change. Yes, it may change, but you want to put a date on it. Put a date on the manifesto that you're going to have, because you want to be able to go back and say, that's what started things. And you might say, look, let me do a second one after a few months and see how much it's changed, or a few days or weeks and see how much it's changed. But you want to have that record, and you want to have that inspiration, and you want to understand, what do I offer? Now, if you're still having trouble, even though you've gone through this whole process, you're still having trouble putting the pieces together. What I want you to do is, one step is, I want you to go over the notes you wrote, and I want you to think about it for 1 or 2 days. I just want you to like live with it for a little bit, because some things will come to you when you least expect it. I jump out of bed every morning with an idea because my brain did something overnight and kind of worked through some ideas, right? And we may relate to that. The second thing I want you to do is, I want you to know that in Arlan's All Access, I help you further refine this. Remember at the top, I said this was the deep dive version of the first part of this, the entire process of the first part of this major part. The other parts include working with other people, talking to other people, and that's kind of a special sauce, right? And that's what we do inside of Arlan's All Access. To kick things off, we find our unique value proposition, and then we take that information, and then we step by step start our membership, and then we just start, generating revenue, or start putting ourselves on the path to doing so in a few weeks, depending. So you're going to want to join Arlan's All Access, because here are some of the things that you're going to think through next. You're going to choose the right platform. I have my favorite, and I'll tell you about that. You're going to decide between free and paid models. You might be thinking, how do I make money with a free model? But maybe you've already seen some of my other videos where I talk about that. But you're going to decide between a free versus paid, or maybe even both. You're going to set your pricing if you do choose paid. You're going to create upsells to boost your revenue. And you may, figure out the pricing for those. You're going to organize your content and automate the process so that you can work on it for several hours to kick it off. But then on a month-to-month basis, you're not working on it for several hours anymore. You have a few key hours per month, and every single month you're growing and growing and growing in revenue. Now, it's a 12-month process inside of Arlan's All Access. It's not overnight. But I will tell you that in the first 2 months of doing this, I've personally made $100,000. I just celebrated my 2-month anniversary having the new version of my membership, and I have several now. And on that 2-month exact anniversary, I hit $100,000 in revenue. Now, this isn't going to be what everybody does. Some people will have a lot less, some people will have some more. But what it tells you is, the hard work I've put into this, because I'm doing this as an entrepreneur. I'm not investing in this. I'm not taking anybody's money from this. The hard work that I've put into this is paying off every single week. I get paid every week from the platform, and it's growing every single month and every single week. So you're going to put a lot of effort into it up front. And then now I get to like watch General Hospital because I love General Hospital while I check in on my memberships. I think of it like tending to my garden, you know? It's not like this thing of, oh God, I have to check in and do all this stuff. It's actually like I get to do some fun stuff. I get to have some great things. And the community is like taking care of itself. They're talking to each other. I just mind it, you know, I just cultivate it and nurture it like a garden. You're going to think about developing the marketing strategy, which will help you with the growth. If you don't have the marketing down, then none of this really matters because people won't know how to find you. You're going to think about building your list, which I can help you with too. And then building a retention plan, because if people leave, then that hurts too. Now, people will leave and they leave, you know, for different reasons. They can't afford it anymore. They're not getting enough value out of it. It's taking up too much time, or they just simply they change their minds. So you're not going to be able to completely close that off, but I can get your numbers lower, right? I can get that retention higher and your churn numbers lower. So the next step I want you to do, mentioned before, is I want you to go over all of your notes. I want you to give me some feedback in the comments. Ask me questions in the comments if you still have them, and I'll try to address them in the next videos. And then go to Arlan's All Access. Go to the links below that will teach you how to go to the next step. And I've I've seen some pricing for other um, schools, other memberships, and they're doing something similar or a little bit different, you know, than what I'm doing. And they're in the thousands of dollars per year. I even have one that's a high ticket offer that's discounted to 4,999. So discounted to 5,000. I even have one. This Arlen's All Access is today, could change and probably will change, but it's today $100 per month, just $100, just $100. Or you can do the yearly and get and save 50% off. So it's like my guarantee to you is that if you do everything I teach you in 12 months, you'll be making $100,000 yearly revenue at the end of the 12 months, or I'll refund your money if you do everything that I tell you to do. The investment is like $600 to $1,200 for my membership, and then the platform that you'll use for yours. So it's like, you know, $1,000, $2,000 in a 12-month period versus $100,000. Get with it. Let's do it. I can't wait to hear from you. I hope this helped you. I hope this helped you have some clarity and also have the confidence to know that you can do this. There's so many people out there. Let me leave you with this. There's so many people out there who have had different privileges in life, different experiences in life. That's nothing bad. It's just the truth, right? And they have a strong voice in this world. They have a megaphone in front of their mouths. And they're saying things that maybe you don't agree with or don't think should be out in the world. You have the opportunity to put the megaphone up to your mouth with this in a way that we've never had before. We have the technology, we have the ability, the access, the instructions, we have the platforms. You now can have as much of a voice as the rogue billionaire who you don't agree with. And I'm being very personal. You may agree with the rogue billionaire, but you know what I mean. And it doesn't matter what your race is, your age, your orientation, your gender, if you believe in genders. It doesn't matter. What matters is that you want to say something in the world. Like, for instance, somebody watching this may start a membership that I don't agree with, that I don't like. But the fact that we have the ability to do that is something very special to me. And there's an integrity and an honor there that I really, really like and respect. So I hope this helped you. And I hope that you do something with it. I can't wait to meet so many of you who tell me that you started from this video. And when you join Arlen's All Access, make sure you DM me and say, this is the video. This very video is the one that made me say, yep, I got to start something. I have to do something with my life, and I have to take it to a next level.